So hey people, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today in this video we're going to be starting a new series. So in this new series we're starting a coding interview questions for JavaScript. So in this series what are we going to do is we're going to go ahead and look through and solve those kind of coding problems that are usually asked to some kinds of people who are giving the interview by the interviewer in a company. These companies are going to be FANG, and those are Facebook, Amazon, Google, and Netflix. These are the questions mostly asked in those type of companies. So from today, we're going to be starting doing 2 or 3 at one day, and then we'll just simply go ahead and skip to another day and start doing 2 or 3 in that video. So for day 1, what are we going to do is we're going to go ahead and start our new journey of this. And from today, we're going to be learning we're going to be learning about 2 questions. And why am I making this video? I'm making this video in order to actually explain you the basic fundamentals of JavaScript and how you can actually crack the kinds of coding interview that you face or you came through, okay? If you're struggling with that, you actually need to go ahead and check my JavaScript for Beginners course. I'm still uploading the videos, but for whatever you've learned in that video, that are going to be used here. So the basic JavaScript concept that I've taught you, that are going to be used in the interview. So without any further speaking and wasting our time, let's begin the video. So, okay, I've created a folder called interview questions, and I'm going to open it with Visual Studio Code first. And then I'll actually, okay, never mind. I need to open this right over here with Visual Studio Code and remove this. So I'll full screen this so it'll be better for us to view. And so I'll go for the index.html file, and then I'll go for the index.js as well. So inside of this, I have the index.js. Now in the HTML, I'm generating, okay, I don't need HTML over here because this is simply going to be our JavaScript only, not HTML. It's not related to the browser side. We're going to be running this in the this server side, which is our terminal. So the first question, I'm going to be starting with a first question. And in this question there is given a input. So I'll go ahead and write that out first. So I'll say const input. So this input is going to be the given number to you by the person who is actually taking your interview. Let's say it's 11 and 11 4 minus 2. And so let's take an example that this is the input that the person has provided. So now what do you need to do is actually create an output over here. So I'll say const output, and the output should be all of these sum. So the sum of all of the items in an array, excluding the index of the item itself. What am I talking about? So let's take an example that first I'm actually running a loop. So in the loop, I want the sum of all of these besides this 2. I want sum of all of 7, 11, 4, and minus 2, but I should not include 2. And while the second round, I want to go ahead and add 7, 11, 4, and minus 2 instead of adding the 7. So each step, each index you go through, you need to go and get the sum of all the items besides that index. So I'll give you an example. In the output, the value should be 20, 15, 11, and then wait, let me go ahead and calculate that. So now let's not include 4. It's going to be 11 plus 11, 7, and it's going to be 28. That's going to be 28, and then I think if we don't include that, this is going to be 11 plus 4, 15, to 20, 24. So this is the input that you've given, okay? So the solution to this is going to be pretty simple, okay? The solution to this, I'm going to go ahead and turn off this first tab line. Okay, let's not do that. I'm going to explain you. You're not going to do that in your coding interview. You're not going to use tab line. They're going to give you a coding interface or IDE for you. They're managing that, okay? So now this should be the output. To make that output, we cannot manipulate this input by saying that instead of 20, we need to go, instead of 2, we need to replace it with 20. No, I'm not saying that. I'm telling you that I need to get the sum of all of the items in an array, but besides that index. So to do that, first we're going to go for a function. So I'll go for const sum is equals to say function. And now let's say it takes in okay, let's not go for a function. Okay, let's go for a sum. Okay, so in this sum, what I'm going to go is I'm going to run a reduce method. So this reduce is a function that's taking in 2 parameters. In this function, it's a callback function, and it's taking in 2 parameters. The first parameter is going to be the A, and then B. It's taking B, okay, as whatever you want to call it. So it takes 2 parameter, but we are not going to give the second parameter because that means the initial value of A. So I don't want to do that. So in this, what we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and return A plus B. That is obviously the sum. We're going to go from the starting 0, and this 0 is going to go at the 7th, 11, 14, 12, and it's going to get all of our sum over here. So the sum is the value of the sum of value of something in the element. Okay, so now we need to actually extract the result. So to extract the result, what do we want? So we are going to go and say result is equals to input dot map, and then we're mapping all of these inputs, all of the items in the inputs, we're mapping that. Okay, so this is taking a value. Now this value could be anything. I'll go for the item. And then we have a, now it's going to go ahead and do what? It's going to go for sum, and then it's going to remove the item. Okay, it's going to remove the item. So what am I doing over here? I'm going to be explaining you this really easily. This is the most shortest code for this problem. So first thing that we're going to go is actually for a sum. So you understood this, we're actually taking a sum. So the first thing that we do is take a sum of the array, and then what are we doing is we're actually subtracting the value of this index. So we can use a traditional for loop over here. So to do that, we could do that over here. So I'll just give you an example over here. So let me just comment this one out. And I'll go for, and I'll say for let I is equals to 0, I is less than the input dot length, and then I want to increment this I by 1. Okay, so that is done. Now what are we going to do is we're going to go for a return statement, or maybe we can go and use another array over here. So this is going to be the, okay, this is going to be result over here. So I'll say, okay, we can, instead of going for const, we can go for var result is equals to, and this result is going to be an empty array. And then what are we going to do is we're going to go for result dot push, and then we want to push in the sum minus input at the index of I. So this is essentially what it is doing, is taking the sum. So let's take an example that the sum of the whole array, so the sum of this whole array is 2 plus 7, which is obviously 11. 11 plus 11 is 11 times 2, 22. 22 plus 4, 24 minus 2 is 22. Okay, so now the sum of this is 22. Now if we say 22 and then minus 2, that it obviously is 22 minus 2 is obviously 20, so it's going to be 20. So we're doing the same over here, the sum minus the input at the index. Okay, and then what we can do is we can simply console dot log the result over here. And if I go and run that in our terminal, so I'll run the terminal over here, and I'll go for node index.js. We can see that 2015, 11, 18. Oh, it's not 20, it's 18. I'm so bad at math, but never mind. Okay. So that is what we get over here. So this is our first problem. Okay. This first problem has been solved, and this is the most frequently asked question in your coding interview. So now after we've done that, we're going to go and rename this file so it will not be a conflict for us. So I'm going to say sum, or we can go for, okay, question1.js. Now we can go create another index.js file over here. Now this index.js file is going to be our question2. So I'm going to renaming this to question2 after I end the video. So the question I'm going to tell you, okay? So suppose, let's say that you have a string. So I'll make a string, const string is equals to, this is a JS code. And now what do I want to do is I want to reverse this sentence, okay? I want to reverse this sentence. And how do I do that? How do I reverse the sentence? So to reverse the sentence, you might use something called reverse.reverse method and all that stuff. But what if I tell you that I want to go and simply get all of the words reversed? I want to reverse all of the words that are in here. So to do that, what do we do? So that your first approach that you'll be is trying to reverse this and all that stuff. So I've told you the question. I'll explain it to you again. I'll iterate through it. I'm saying that I need, so this is a string right over here, right? So this is a string. Now this string, I'm going to go and I want to get the reversed word. Every single word should be reversed. So how do I do that? So to do that, first, what are we going to do is we're going to create an algorithm. So in that algorithm, what are we going to do? So first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go and separate these into an array. So we're going to separate, this is a JS code. Now I want this and is an AJS code as elements. So I want these as elements in my array. So to do that, what are we going to do is we're going to go and create a function for that. So I'll say const, and I'll go for reverse by word is equals to, it's const reverse by word is equals to, it's going to be a function. Now it's taking a parameter as value. And what are we going to do is we're going to go for something like response, or maybe we can go for results and say let result is equals to, and we are going to go for value dot split. Now this split, what it does, so I'll explain it to you. This split is something that is going to go and separate this into an array. So this is going to go and split this all thing right over here. This is going to go and split it. So how do we split that? So to split that, we simply go and then, okay, what am I telling? Yeah, I'm sorry. So the split is doing what? It's taking a separator. Now I'll pass in a separator. This is going to be a space character. Now this space character is denoting that whenever there is a space, just simply put the value that is before the space to an element of an array and put the value after the space to another, to the same array. So it's saying like that, separate all of these and put them in a separate place. Okay, so that is what it is telling, split. And then we can go for a map over here. So after we've done that, we need to go for a initial map. So in this initial map, we're taking a word. So now in this, what are we doing? Okay, so in this, we're taking each of the word. Now after we've actually separated that, we need to take each of the word, right? So taking each of the word, we're simply returning something. So we're returning word dot split. So we're splitting the word again, but now this time we're not using any kind of separators. We're using a no space. We're using nothing. We're using a null character. That means that it's going to go and reverse. It's going to split all of those letters. It's going to split the letters. And then what are we going to do is we're going to reverse this array. Now we know that this is a reversed, this is a array. So I'll say reverse. And then I would simply join them. So join function is basically used for joining the elements of an array to a string. And now what we're going to do is we're going to return this result. Now what do we get? So let's go ahead and run this result. Okay, it's not result, it's okay, okay, it's returning, so I'll console log this one out. So if I do that, and if I run this node index.js, okay, wait. Oh, I've simply returned an array. I want to join this by a separator, so I'll join this by a separator, which is simply going to be this. And if I do that, we can see that SIHT is, and whatever the stuff that is reversed over here. So that means we're getting that, okay? We actually got that, and we used a algorithm here. So first what we did is we simply divided this into an array. We divided word by word, and then after dividing word by word, we divided sentence by sentence. Oh, letter by letter. So we first actually divided word by word, and then we split the word into letters, and then we reversed those letters, and then we joined those. That is how cool it is, okay? So this is how you solve interview questions. You don't need to panic. You just need to go, and if you get any kind of information or hints from the interviewer is going to go ahead and provide you some hints. That is what interviewer does. An interviewer always wants you to pass. Interviewer never wants you to fail. So you need to remember that, okay? And if you don't know anything, if you're stuck with that, you could actually take help from the interviewer, or maybe just, if you don't know, then that is your problem. But you may actually ask the question if you are feeling some difficulties in understanding the question. The interviewer is going to explain the question really easily. So yep, that is it for today, and I hope you've learned something really useful and valuable for your time. And yep, I guess I'll continue this series, and I'll continue the JavaScript for Beginner series as well. So I hope you stay tuned. And I'm just saying this much in the video. I'll see you in the next video. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe and like this video, and join our Discord server if you need any kind of assistance. So I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care everyone, and goodbye.